Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Around the Ropes podcast for this Tuesday, February 4th, 2025. Hope everybody's having a good day. Good start to the month. Yeah, guys, I know it's weird to think. January's done. January's past us. And if you're a wrestling fan, you know that once we get past one pay-per-view, we're on the road to WrestleMania. And guys, we just had the Royal Rumble this past weekend, which we'll get into that throughout the entire show tonight. But guys, you guys can leave your comments below. Before we go any further, I do want to share the show out, so we can get some people to watch and interact because, well, how else are we going to, get interaction here? And also, guys, I do want to make a mention. Oops, hold on. I don't want to hear myself twice. I'm not that good. But, guys, we also have a huge guest coming up. And this is a guest that, if I'm going to be completely honest right now, I am honored that he's giving us the time tonight. And that is the one, the only, Kaide Lothbrock, who, at the end of the month, February 22nd, he makes his long-awaited return to NYWC here on Long Island for Psycho Circus. And this is something that's been 7 years in the making. And if you have been following Kaide and you've seen this stuff, you know that this is big for him. So we're gonna find out exactly, where this all started and what can fans expect for this match. But just bear with me 2 more seconds because I'm just sharing the show out so we can get some people to watch. Of course, guys, if you watch us on YouTube, I appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button. It costs you nothing. It does wonders for us. If you're on Facebook, find us on Facebook and do all that stuff. Also, do want to mention one other thing here, and that would be, guys, in the corner of the screen, you can also purchase merchandise. Yes, guys, we do have our own merchandise store. It's Pro Wrestling Tees. Over the weekend, I will probably upload a few more versions, a few more a few more designs. Because, like I said, guys, I hope you guys can buy it because I want to get you guys, a part of it. But just, like I said, hold on. Do 2 more and that's it. All right. But with that right there so I can see if anybody else comments. But, guys, like I said, we have a lot to get to. We are on the road to WrestleMania, coming out of a very interesting Royal Rumble. And, guys, hopefully you guys watched our live Royal Rumble watch along that myself and Ryan did this past Saturday at the Hooters over here in Farmingdale, New York. Unfortunately, the video was taken down due to copyright, but if you guys got it, actually, it may still be up. I have no idea. But we had a lot of fun. I want to give a huge shout-out to Jimmy J. I want to give a huge shout-out to AJ Pan to all of them just for allowing us back in. This is our 3rd watch along, I think we did with them, 3rd or 4th. And this one, because we did one with them when they were in Jersey. That was actually our first one we ever did with them. And that was more of BCW at the time. Then we had whatchamacallit. Then we had the one in the city that we did for Backlash for France. And then we had the one that we did over the weekend. And also, guys, let me know in the comments section below if you're watching us, if you can hear me. Because I'm trying a new microphone, so I don't know how well it's going to come off how well its sound is. So if you guys can just let me know in the comment section, I would greatly appreciate that a lot. But, yeah, I want to give them a huge shout-out. I want to give the Hooters in Farmingdale a huge shout-out. The waitresses were amazing. They made the night perfect. And let's get to the elephant in the room. And I want to talk about that main event, the Men's Royal Rumble, because I know in the weeks leading up to the Rumble, we've talked about it here on the show, and I kept saying that it's going to likely be Cena. It's going to likely be a CM Punk, a Roman Reigns, somebody of that nature. But I said also, if you remember, when I was talking about Um, Thank you, David. I appreciate that. Our good friend David from across the pond says, and I quote, him, "Hey, John, buddy, looking forward to hearing your views on the Rumble. Hear you loud and clear." Thank you, David. I appreciate that. Guys, I've been seeing a lot of discord on social media, especially the IWC, when it comes to the fact that Jey Uso won the 2025 Royal Rumble. And I want to know one thing. Is nobody ever going to, any in the IWC, going to be happy about anything? Because if it would have been a Roman Reigns and it would have been a CM Punk or would have been somebody else, then the comment woman is, "Oh, it's too predictable." But now, you have to remember, guys, we're not in the Vince McMahon era anymore, where everything is going to be cut, dry, predictable. We don't have that anymore. I mean, case in point, look at the fact that now with Monday Night Raw being on Netflix, you can't turn on your TV at 10:30 and assume you're going to watch the main event. The main event could be over. So there's a lot more unpredictability now when it comes to pro wrestling. Yes, it's predetermined. I'm not taking that away from it. But where years ago we kind of had a hunch of who was going to win, and we kind of had a hunch of the direction, we don't know that anymore. We seriously don't know that at this point. But the fact that it was Jey Uso, somebody who, I mean, let's be honest. You think of Jey Uso, you think of Jimmy, you think of the Usos. Probably one of the most decorated tag teams of modern wrestling right now. So the fact that main event Jey Uso kind of went out on his own and has become a star that's in one of the biggest spots for WrestleMania, I love it. And I think also, we also have to remember one thing. More than likely, he's probably going to go after Gunther. Because more than likely, they're going to set up the men's elimination chamber when they go to Toronto in about 4 weeks, where it's going to probably be the winner of that takes on Cody. Let's just call it what it is. Because that's unfortunately how we're going to get Cody and John. That's the only way I think we're going to get Cody and John that way. But when you look at the other ones, when you look at the other side of it, and, with Jey Uso, he's probably going after Gunther. And guys, we're probably about to see a repeat here. And what I mean by that is this. If you remember back at WrestleMania, when we head into WrestleMania last year, we had Sami Zayn going after Gunther for the IC title. And if you remember, Gunther was on that 600-day run with the belt. And Sami became a star then. I mean, Sami didn't become a star, but it was a big moment. And I know we just saw Jay take on Gunther a couple days ago at Saturday's main event. But who's to say that we're not getting to Vegas in a couple of months with Jey Uso walking out as champion? Because at this point, WWE cannot do all this momentum, give all this push to Jey Uso for him to walk into WrestleMania to lose. I personally like the idea of Jey Uso winning the Rumble. I like it. It's very unpredictable, which you don't really see that much now. And it makes things interesting because going into, for the longest time, let me see what. David says, hold on, he goes, I can't even fucking read right now. He goes, Jey Uso is super over with, exactly. That's the big thing. That's what it comes down to. Is people I've learned about this in life. And I've come to this realization. It doesn't matter what avenue of life you're in. You can be a teacher's aide. You can work in a school. You can work in corporate. Everybody's going to bitch about something. Except me, of course, because I don't bitch about anything. I just bitch about out here every Tuesday. Friend of the show, The lovely Miss Billy Ann chimes in here and goes, I can't even fucking read tonight. What the hell? She goes, hey there, my friend, the Royal Rumble oh yes, I forgot we have to call it the PLE. Was yeah, no, Billy, you're right. And that's my whole thing with the way that this. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know when we saw this last, where they gave they gave momentum to somebody who, well, I mean, let's be honest, who basically didn't need it, but ended up taking it. If you guys remember back when Otis won the Money in the Bank briefs, what was it, 2 years ago? Somebody in the comment section remind me, when was the Money in the Bank and Titan Towers? Was that 2021 or 22? Because my point is, we very rarely have seen it where somebody who's incredibly over gets the push they deserve. As far as the returns, I said this on the live Saturday night, and the one thing I like with both the men's and the women's rumbles is we didn't get that many legends returning. It wasn't like years in the past where it was guys like, where I remember one year it was, guys like Booker T and guys like Diesel coming back. We didn't get that. I mean, as far as big returns in the men, I mean, who was it really? It was AJ Styles. I'm trying to think. I freaking saw the damn thing. It was Styles. Oh, sorry, Mark. I didn't see it. I'm sorry. Sorry, Mark. How you doing, my friend? It was AJ Styles. I'm trying to think. Was there? I'm trying to remember now. Hold on. I gotta go to freaking Google. I don't remember. I don't think there was. I don't think there was any big returns. Hold on. Give me a second here. 2025. Royal. And guys, also, by the way, I do want to make a mention here. Thank you. Thank you, David. I do want to make one mention, by the way, at 9:15 tonight. This has been talked about for a while, but we have a humongous announcement coming up. And if you've been a fan of the show since day one, be prepared. Let me put it to you this. Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to spoil it. 9:15, stay tuned for this massive announcement because there's going to be a few changes coming to the way. And then obviously, of course, if you missed this, you can catch the replay of it on our Spotify page. Or you can catch the replay because I'll probably post it on Facebook. But I'm trying to see if there was any big returns. Let's see here. All right, hold on. For the men's. Okay, big return. I mean, not really, because I'm just looking here right now. Oh, I'm sorry. We had I Show Speed. Oof. That was a that was a big one. Joe Hendry was a big one. So I would say right now, no, there really wasn't any big names that returned because I'm just looking here for the men's side. I mean, you had Cena, but we knew Cena was going to be there. We found out Styles was going to return. Styles was really the only. I think realistically, it was Styles, Joe Hendry, and I Show Speed were the three biggest shockers. If I'm being realistic right now. And then if we just check over to the women's quickly, I mean, you had Trish Stratus, you had Stephanie Vacure, you had Alexa Bliss, you had Jordan Grace. Jade. Yeah, there was a little bit more of a surprise when it came to the women's side than the men's. But for the men's, it wasn't that much of a shocker. I mean, the fact that now, I mean, as we found out last night on Monday Night Raw, that we're going to have AJ Styles on Raw now, and it's actually kind of funny because Raw next week's in Nashville. And where did AJ kind of get his start? Nashville. So, and honestly, for him, as far as with AJ Styles, I think him going after Braun for that IC title is going to make it for a very intriguing main event, mid card. Sorry. I said this on Saturday when we were doing the live show, and realistically, you look at how it's all played out when it comes to that main event, and I don't remember. It's been years since we had. I mean, the last time I can think about it, and you have to go back probably all the way to the Attitude Era, when you had so many guys who could be plugged into the main event. Because if you remember, in the main event back then in the Attitude Era, you had guys. You had, the scene was. You had Austin, you had Rocky, you had Taker, you had Kane, you had Mick Foley, you had Hunter, you had Shawn, you go down the list. But now look at it now, though, the main event scene of WWE. You got Roman, you got Seth, you got Punk, you got Cody, it's Jey Uso can now throw his name into the hat, into the ring. So, to be honest, I liked the men's Rumble a lot. I liked the finish of it and all that stuff. By the way, I see Mr. Ryan Peterson is watching. Would Mr. Ryan Peterson like to join me live on the air? Especially the fact of the guest who I have coming up in about 10 minutes. Somebody who he knows quite well. So, hopefully, Mr. Peterson will let me know in the comment section if he would like to hop on with us for a little bit. Up to him. But as far as I want to go now to Cody and KO. This match, and I've said this before, when Cody won the title at WrestleMania 40 last year, it was very curious to see what he was going to do afterwards. And coming out of it, he hasn't really faced top tier talent. Yes, granted, he had AJ Styles coming out of WrestleMania. Now, the problem is AJ Styles, if this was 5 years ago, yeah, absolutely, I would sit there and say, oh, he's going to definitely be the toughest opponent. Now, looking at it, the way he's been booked, not necessarily. Not necessarily. But you look at, so you had AJ. Then you had, who else did you have? You had Logan Paul. I mean, he's a good heel, but is he a credible enough heel to take the belt off of Cody? No, not necessarily. Unfortunately, the only name that comes to mind is Solo. And that's only because of the fact of who he had with Tama Tonga Loa, and Jacob Fatu. And even he couldn't really do it. So I thought if anybody would have had the potential to dethrone Cody before we get to WrestleMania, I think it would have been KO. We saw it in this whole rivalry with Cody. He was being a true heel, which you don't see a lot anymore. And there was one spot in the match that that at the time it was sold beautifully. So that kind of pisses me off a little bit why we saw KO last night on Monday Night Raw. And the spot I'm talking about is the Alabama Slam, where Cody and KO were on the outside. They were on the announcer's desk. And KO gets literally he's in a V. It's like he was like this. If you're watching the live stream, you can see my hands, but basically I'm making a V now on the screen. So my question is this. Why did you need him to show up last night on Monday Night Raw to attack Sammy so quick? I get the fact he was showing a little bit of an issue, a little bit of pain, but still, I don't think you needed him to show up last night. To me, you have to, and I'm not a wrestler, and I've said this for the longest time. I'm not a wrestler. I give the wrestlers a lot of credit for what they do in the ring, but I'm not a wrestler. But the one thing I will never understand is, I mean, people laugh. Like, go back to somebody like Dolph Ziggler, for example. Dolph, when he got hit with a move, he sold it like he got fucking shot. Now you're seeing these guys who aren't selling. To me, if I get the Alabama Slam from Cody on ladder and I end up looking like a freaking V, I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, okay, I'll just be on Raw next day. I get the fact that you got the Elimination Chamber coming up in a couple weeks, and you got WrestleMania literally right after. So I get that notion, but I think you could have gone at least another week or two.